So, got another little server project today. This kind of came up out of the blue. I was at Home Depot looking for some stuff and I saw these LED lights for $12 and I thought it'd be kind of fun to put these in my rack. In the back of the rack particularly because it's hard to see in there. So, I'm going to open this up. First I want to see what these are like. This will kind of be a review also, but mostly this review is going to be focusing on the aspect of lighting my server rack. There we go. Packaging is kind of lackluster. It's just a really flimsy, not even really cardboard, it's like cardstock box. But lighting comes on a roll inside of this ESD bag, which is not heat sealed. So, comes with the LEDs, of course, a little remote, and this is the power supply, and presumably wireless receiver as well. It doesn't specify what it requires, I don't believe. Let me look at the manual real quick here. So here's the specifications. It requires half an amp, so should be fine with most chargers. I went with this older Motorola branded one. I wanted a 5 volt 1 amp, so it's not getting pushed too hard, but this is a 5 volt, it's probably not going to focus on that, but it's a 5 volt 850 milliamp, so 0.85 amps. Not much to see in the manual, just really straightforward stuff. I feel like if you're buying something like this, at least you should know how to plug stuff in and push buttons on a remote. That's really all there is to it. It doesn't look like there's any keying, so that will be the biggest thing you need to worry about, which way this goes in, which is really kind of a bad design. Also, the camera will focus. You can see they just heat shrinked over the circuit board. It looks like, that's unfortunate. So the remote control is infrared. That's the receiver right there. So you'll have to make sure you put that receiver somewhere where it's line of sight of the remote, since this is using infrared light instead of radio frequencies. Since this is not marked in which way goes where, that probably will require reading the manual. The other possibility is, which I guess I haven't read since I read the manual, I haven't given any credit, but they might have made this in a way where it could go either direction. But that seems kind of strange. Okay, yeah, so there is this side up, which, that's hilarious. What? It's not, so it's labeled here on the instructions, but it's not labeled on the, which side's up. Let's take a closer look. Yeah. So I guess they just expect you to guess? Actually, it's not very clear, it's not very obvious, but if you zoom in really close, right after the word this, and sorry I can't hold it steady enough, but there's a little arrow pointing towards the connector. So that must mean, focus, that this little arrow there is the side that goes up. I guess we'll find out, because if the magic smoke comes out, then well, it's getting returned. So trying to do this through the camera is kind of hard, but we'll get it there. There we go. So in theory, I'll zoom out now so I can see everything. In theory, I plug in my little USB power supply, and I plug in the USB power, and hey, we got lights. Yeah, take the pull. pull the battery tab. There we go. I'll get there eventually. I'm an expert. Yep. Remote control works. Looks like there's some brightness controls. Boy, this is one of the flimsiest remotes. Alright, yeah, these are brightness controls. This thing is just super cheap. But you can change colors. You can get a couple color gradients. Ooh. That color doesn't play nice with the camera. Looks like that's a violet color. I wonder if it's using pulse width modulation to control the colors. Because these are RGB LEDs, so there's going to be a red, green, and blue in there, which I can demonstrate by zooming in. And hopefully it'll try to focus. It's probably about as focused as it's going to get. So there's the red LED. There's the green LED, even though it doesn't look very green on the camera, if my screen is representing that correctly. And that's blue. I think it might be saturating the sensor since I'm pointing it straight at the camera. But yeah, so there's 3 LEDs in these. That's how you get your RGB. And I'm guessing that it must use pulse width modulation where it's flashing them off and on to get the color. Hopefully this doesn't flicker too bad. I'll probably put a warning in the video. That one's pulsating a little. That's supposed to be orange. Yellow looks white on the camera, which is interesting. It's a very awful yellow. It's like super pale. Also, looks like this one's bad. Red. Nope, the green's bad. Well, that's annoying. Well, maybe this will become a review after all. I don't know. It's one of those things where you gotta decide whether it's worth the trouble of returning this or not. That's the end. Yeah, it's just that one. So it's already not off to a good start because you have to wonder if the LED failed or if it's a deficiency in the strip, because these are basically thin sheets of plastic with copper traces in between them. Yeah, that LED's not lighting up. So that doesn't bode well. Push on a little, see if maybe it's a cold solder joint. Well, that's unfortunate. Also, the camera's doing a horrible job representing the colors. Looks more of like a turquoise almost than like a pale lime green if you're looking at it in person. That's interesting. Well, I have a feeling that this strip is going to get returned because it is already starting to fail. Well, despite the LED strip being bad, I've decided to do a test fit in my server rack. As you can see right now, it's really dark in there. And if I hit the right button, there we go. I have light. Obviously the doors are closed, so it doesn't look too impressive. It's currently set on white in theory. And I have mixed feelings on whether or not I should do both sides. Also, you can see my cable mess a little better. I could turn on the flashlight and then you can see what better lighting would look like. But as it sits right now, I mean, everything is visible. It's better than stumbling around in the dark. The color temperature is a little strange. It's definitely blue. But, I mean, like, I can see these ports fairly well. Oh, I didn't know that wasn't plugged in. I might have I don't know when I'd worked on this last. Anywho. Yeah, you can see inside fairly well. So I'll have to think about whether or not I want to cover both sides. I will have to return this obviously because that's oversaturating the camera. I can't see, but the green on that one is bad. I don't think I want to worry about it failing further, especially since this is going to be stuck on with adhesive once I get a replacement. I don't think I'll be able to show how I have it mounted right now without turning these off. There we go. I'll turn the light on my camera. So right now I just have it taped on with some blue painter's tape. I didn't want to, damage it, even though this is already damaged. I'm kind of curious in how sticky the adhesive is, but I don't know what the return policy is with Home Depot, so I'm just going to kind of put it back to as new as possible and probably bring a battery bank with me so I can show them it's bad. And then I'll grab another one and test it. Kind of inconvenient, but I don't know. It's better than having it fail even more after I stick everything down and make it more of a permanent bond. It does have various modes, which I don't believe I demonstrated in the earlier clip. So we'll do the ones that are hopefully less seizure-y. At least through the camera. Whoop. Well, I just made a liar of myself. I think I turned it on first, maybe, that's why. Yeah, definitely not, not at all seizure-y. That was supposed to be smooth. This one's fade. It looks kind of neat. I mean, it's kind of pointless. I really just want these lights back here so it's easier to do work. It might be cool to have it on both sides, but I don't know if there's really any practical reason for it, to be honest. Because really the only thing I care about is lighting. I want to be able to see what I'm doing. And it'll probably be on white, which, like I said, provides adequate light for what I need to do. I could do some on the front as well if I was feeling fancy, I guess. But generally speaking, there's not much to see on the front, and I have plenty of light, even when I pull stuff out, since I have the light straight up. I do need to replace that light, but there's not a lot of clearance up there, so I'm just going to stick with it having a fluorescent light probably until I'm forced to care enough to replace it. But overall they look nice. I mean, they're LEDs, so I guess what do you expect? The build quality seems about the same as any other LED strip light I've ever seen. I mean, they're nothing special. But yeah, hopefully once I get this strip replaced with one that doesn't have an LED that's already failed, I will do a permanent install on my rack, and the plan is I'm going to stick a magnet to the back of this remote so I can just stick it to the side of my server rack basically. I don't think I have any sticky back magnets, so I'll probably just double side tape something on, or maybe super glue. I don't know. I don't like using methods that are more destructive, because if I super glue it on here, then it's gonna make a nasty mess if I ever want to remove it. But yeah, basically the plan will be just to, not enough of a ledge there, just have it stuck to the side of the rack, and then if I need to do work, I'm just gonna hop on over here and hit the remote. Probably open the door first, because there's really no good reason to do it with the door closed. And then, turn it on. In this case I turned it off obviously, but yeah, so I think that'll be a good addition to the rack. I've seen other people that have done it and I've kind of thought it was silly, but it's so dark back here that not having some sort of light source does kind of suck. So hopefully that's interesting, and thanks for watching.